Are you tired of all the uneducated noise you're getting from the droves of YOLO meme coin peddling douchebag gurus out there trying to use you as their exit liquidity? Would you rather learn a competent university level set of skills that will guide you in managing and investing for the rest of your life? Join us 3 days a week at Digital Investor. Develop your knowledge of game theory, cognitive bias, macroeconomics, monetary theory, investment theory, psychology of the crowds, and more. For more info on Digital Investor and how it can help you, reach out at nickblacknext.com.
We answered Howard's question yesterday. It just was offline. So, yeah, we answer them all. Just sometimes we don't make them public. Hello. All right, what's going on? What's going on in the worlds? Hello. Replacing 2 fuel injectors on an '08 Ecoline Ford diesel. Oof. Cisco, as long as you've been at this crypto stuff, I know that you don't need to work. I know that you choose to work. And that makes it a lot more fun. Hello. Pew indeed. All right. So ask your questions, should you have them. We're going to talk about, I don't know if this is a financial bias. This is that people confuse the stock market for the economy. So we're going to go into that. We kind of hinted at that yesterday, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that today. It'll be cool. Can we do hypercycle marriage? Yes, you can, but it won't do you any good unless if you have your own hardware for tilling, yes. If you want them to do the tilling and not have to mess with it, then don't. But yes, you can. Everybody can do that. I mean, we've had that capability for a few weeks, but there's just no point right now, this second. You could, if you want to. And those of you that do have equipment, if you have hardware and stuff like that, but listen, that's on you. I'm not a software designer for hypercycle. So if something goes sideways, don't get on here and be like, hey, the blue button twisted to the left and the green wire. No, nope. Not me. Ever darkening skies and flash flood warnings in Texas. That's right. What flavor? It's a kind of one. It was one of the other ones with coconut, and it smells kind of coconutty, but I don't know, man. I don't know if it tastes coconutty, but it smells coconut. It tastes sweet as hell. Anyway, that's all that matters. Pew indeed. Pew indeed. Hello. Oh wait, which kitty? Loki. Come here, Bubba. You want to say hi? Yeah? Oh, I got you. Oh, I had him. Hold on. Loki! Get him. Hold on, let me see if I can get him. He's playing coy. Give me a second. Come here, Bubba. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's so big. You want to say hi? Yeah, you want to say hi? Yeah, say hi. Yeah. I love you. Yes. You're a good kitty. Get down. And he's gone. That's it. That's about all we're gonna get out of that one without needing a surgeon. Hi, Baba. He's a good kitty. He's very affectionate sometimes, and then other times he'll just to ribbons. He will rip you to ribbons. So that's what he do. That's what Loki do. All right. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Finally, welcome. So yeah, kitties are good. For hypercycle box owners, yes, again, you can marry. You can get married. You can do the marriage. You can take your tokens and you can adhere them, attach them, fuse them to your node licenses for hypercycle. But I don't think you need to just yet. I would wait until compute rolls out so that you can just go bang, bang, and immediately point them at, the hardware that you're going to end up spending the most time with. And as we get closer to compute, it'll also become more clear what hardware we can buy like off the shelf. If you didn't, let's say you don't want to buy a hypercycle box. Let's say you want to just do off the shelf. You'll be able to, but we'll have more information. Like you could look at one of the hypercycle boxes that does what you want it to do, and you could just go make your own. You could have a badass gaming rig that does the same thing. So you don't have to feel like you're handcuffed. The idea is that eventually the software, the hypercycle software, would be able to run on devices all over, big and small, because there's all sorts of AI compute tasks, big and small. So that should make sense. Okay, hello. A little late, don't worry. Better late than never. Yeah, he's getting big. So we can still get tilling for nodes purchased till compute. Yes, that is correct. What the heck is new with ASI token? When might the big merge actually happen? I don't know. Yeah. Hello. Thoughts on Polkadot? Are you optimistic? Well, let's shoot over to the markets for a second. Take a look. Now, of course, it's wonky. Let me spend 2 seconds. I don't know why it perpetually logs you out, logs you in, logs you out every time. Seems silly. Okay, let me get the right chart up. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, that'll work. Let's get the big one. Okay, thoughts on DOT. All right, I'm not going to give any investment thoughts on DOT, but overall, nothing exciting going on over here at this team. They can do as many rollouts, upgrades, consensus changes as they want. It's too convoluted. It's too complex. It's too confusing. Parachains and all this bullshit and this whole auction system that they used is stupid. They just overcomplicated it by about 35 steps. It's just, for a company that has the worst marketing ever, other than Algorand. Algorand's the worst. But like you call your company Polkadot. I've always said that if you're so flippant with the way that you name your company, then you really have your priorities in the wrong place. So they could be 2.0, 3.0, 17.0. I know all things will likely go up in this kind of bullish market that we're going into. Great. I don't think the world's going to run on Polkadot. I don't even think a chunk of the world's going to run on Polkadot. I don't even think the people that are stuck at Polkadot wish they are happy that they're still running on Polkadot. Polkadot, in my opinion, is a Gavin Woods very expensive experiment, and it's a fail. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, man. So yeah, I'm not excited about it. Doesn't mean it won't go up. It probably goes up to $20. I don't know. Well, I don't know why it would go up to $20. It probably goes up to $9 or something like that, but who cares? It's just not a great project. Sometimes you can have really great people just do not great things. And this is a not great thing. Yeah. It's no one's talking about, oh, when's the Polkadot ETF coming? I ain't gonna give a crap about no Polkadot. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. No, I do. I just told you. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. He's very fluffy. He's in my feet right now. Hello. Fluffy. Sometimes he's really fluffy. He was out running the sprinklers today, so he's uber fluffy. You don't lose free tilling. It's just you would have to have the hardware to do the tilling. And if you don't have a hyper AI box or something comparative, or you're not really good at server architecture, you probably shouldn't do it. You don't need to do it right now. Just have those tokens tucked away that you're going to marry to your node licenses. Yeah. Okay. Bam. Hello. Thinking no SI news means it ain't happening. It's going to happen, but yes, I agree. I don't think it's anytime soon. Remember that the Singularity Net, they have to still take 100 million AGIX and sell them and use them to buy hardware. By the way, my argument against this was that all of this is in vain and pointless, that they're never going to outmoney the bigger competitors, including the bigger competitors that don't even exist yet. I'll give you an example. Does anybody here know how much XAI, Elon Musk's wannabe competitor to OpenAI, right? Like you could just money into it. This is the thing. It's so flawed logic, but let's walk through it. So Elon Musk wants to just money his way into competing. That's the same thing that ASI wants to do. They just want to money their way into competing. They don't have infrastructure. They want to money their way into it. You're going to sell 100 million AGIX. You're going to raise, well, right now about 92 million bucks. That's if you could sell at dollar for dollar, which you cannot. So price impact that's going to be what, 65 million bucks? Okay, so I want you to keep that number in your head, 65 million. Everybody, matter of fact, there's 178 people here. I want everyone to write, I have 65 million bucks. 65 million bucks. 65 million. And yes, this is the point I'm getting to. XAI just raised 6 billion at a valuation of 24 billion. So let me see. How do you go from 65 million? How do you get to 6 billion? Okay, 65, 650, 6.5. So it's 100 times more, and they just started. So let's say that again. It's Twitter, and it's all those investors, and it's Elon Musk, on paper, the richest guy in the world, with the biggest Rolodex in the world, and 100 times more money. And they're going to buy 100,000 H100s. 100,000 H100s. They could have big, giant AI supercomputer. How on earth? So if we hold that logic, that means the ASI conglomerate has $1 in infrastructure spend, $1 for every $100 that the richest dude on the fucking planet has. Does this seem like any kind of a winnable battle? So then you have to say, oh, well then, obviously, our technology has to be more than 100 times better. 100 times. You have to be 100 times better. H100s, I think they're more than that. I don't know. I saw the old prices for H100s before they had the other ones they were rolling out, but they're minimum. Yeah. So it just seems like an uphill battle 2 orders of magnitude. So I don't know, man. And it just seems like a little bit of common sense would have gone a long way. And then you go, well, who was doing the math? Oh, Mario at Singularity DAO. Great. And that is why. And so then you just say, in my opinion, I don't care how smart you are, it's an unwinnable battle. In my opinion, that is an unwinnable battle. Here you go, sir. You have 1 bullet for every 100 that they're going to shoot at you. I want you to stand 10 feet away. Stand 10 feet away and engage in battle. I don't care if you're smarter. It doesn't matter. These bigger, and that's just a company. That's a company that doesn't even exist. It does not even exist. And yeah, how to blend the tokens. What are they blending? It doesn't even make any sense. It still doesn't make sense. Now, there are some cool ways you could go about it. So let's say we were to rewrite it. How would we make ASI cool? If there was some way where the companies were working together, which again, I don't know if that exists, but let's say there was some way where they were all working together and they were really becoming a company, not just a token merger, because a token merger alone doesn't make sense to me. How do you merge? That's like Apple and Intel and Samsung merging their equity. And you'd be like, what? What the hell does that even mean? They're different companies. How does that even work? Yeah, good question. How does that even work? No one knows. No one's been able to explain it. It just seems all kind of cocked up. But if we were to do it, maybe we would say, okay, cool. Let's figure out a way to create some incentivized system where the ASI token is something that represents the 3 tokens. You don't disappear the other tokens. You don't disappear them. You just, what are you doing over there? He's gnawing on something. What are you gnawing on, dude? Shouldn't be gnawing on stuff. Anyway, you build some kind of incentive-based system where the beneficial side, the abundance that's created by AI through staking, through, I don't know, some kind of clever mechanism where AI is better than humans, and the result is some kind of arbitraged currency unit. And you create like an ASI, universal basic income. So basically, I take my tokens, my AGIX, my Ocean tokens, my Fetch tokens. I swap them into ASI. ASI is a conglomerate of these 3 companies working to create dividends. Period, full stop, whether it's DPIN, like a decentralized physical infrastructure project, whether it's real world asset tokenization, the coolest word on the block, RWA, right? And or whatever. But you actually monetize these things, and you do it so it pays an income. And so instead, it's essentially, it's kind of like staking, but you're not actually staking. You're just simply offering up your currency units to build out an infrastructure that spits off cash. And then you put that cash in your back pocket in the form of USDC, an ASI, universal basic income. Now that would be badass, but that ain't what they're doing. At least not yet. Who knows? Maybe we can like incept. Maybe we can do an inception. We can like incept them into doing it. I know that Ben is willing to listen. I mean, he listens to anything. He probably doesn't agree, but he might. And so something like that could work, especially as jobs are getting obsoleted and all that. But just merging the tokens for the sake of having a bigger market cap doesn't really mean anything. And merging them for the sake of having a bigger market cap so that each one of those companies can grab about $100 million and put it in their back pocket, also not super exciting to the rest of us as investors. And I'm pretty sure had it been pitched that way, which it really is if you distill it, it's not so palatable. It's not so delicious. Bring back the dude. I know. That's just my opinion, man. I know I have it on my, it is here somewhere. It's on the list of like cool. I'll get it at some point. SNet put out the same statement on ASI conversion taking longer than expected. Yeah. I mean, I just don't, they didn't listen. It took 2 weeks to prepare it. It was ill prepared. It was ill conceived. It was poorly launched. It was poorly thought out. There may have been some good ideas mixed in there. It was put together by dummies. I mean, Ben didn't craft it. That's the thing. I almost kind of feel bad for him. Like he got stuck. He got stuck with this idea that kind of made sense. And it was probably the best, the only way to make this sloppy thing work. And again, they put it together in 2 weeks or less. And the team that put it together, I mean, they're not very competent. Let's be honest. It's the Singularity DAO team. They're kind of a bunch of dummies. They mean well. They're not thieves. They're not crooks. It's not like that. They're just incompetent. And you know what? There's no difference. If someone's waving a gun around incompetently, you still get shot all the same. If someone dumps a bunch of rattlesnakes in your backyard incompetently, oh, my mistake. I didn't mean to dump all those rattlesnakes in your backyard. You're still getting bit. It's the same thing. So, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Why would ASI be doing UBI? Isn't UBI restricted? No. Universal basic income is a concept. It's not an actual patented trademarked thing. It's a concept that you might have to create a stipend system which accounts for many or most of the world because economies change. We're going to talk about that today. And jobs get obsoleted as technology comes into play. It's just that this time, this phase is different because this is the first time that the technology has been smarter than the people that launched it. And when you see technology that's more efficient than the people that built it, it takes over. Like, look at agriculture. Like, look at farms. They are mechanized. They even have planes fly around with salt and seed clouds to get rain and all this. So agriculture, agrarian societies aren't filled with, tons and tons and tons of workers like they used to be. And factories are not filled with tons and tons of people. And sometimes it's through creative destruction. Like after World War II, it's like, okay, well, since we're going to rebuild anyway, let's rebuild with new stuff. Oh, look at these machines. They weren't calling them robots, but they were simple robots. And as technology gets better, people leave that job. If you have a thing that just does this 400,000 times a day, you don't need a person to do it. Who's going to complain? Who's going to get sick? Who's going to call in with his stomach hurt? My elbow hurts. I need workers' comp and all this kind of old crap. No. You have a machine do it. And then machines get better and better. They do more steps, and pretty soon it's all machines. Only now we've gone from the physical machines to the software, and we're probably going to transition into better physical machines, robots, household robots. I promise you, many of you will have consumer grade Android, whatever, robots, not Android the company, but like Android, robots. Not vacuum cleaner robots. I've already got 2 vacuum cleaner robots. They're awesome. I'm talking about like robots. Like, hello, sir. How can I make your eggs today, sir? Wow, cool. 3D print them poached, Edgar. Mine's going to be called Edgar. Anyway, so this kind of thing happens. Only this time, the creative destruction is we're moving into a phase where humans are going to get obsoleted from the workforce because more and more things are less unique to human abilities. My buddy and I were having lunch yesterday at Carney's. Anybody been to Carney's? It's like a hot dog place that's inside of an old subway train thing, or like a train. Like you're in a train, but it's like a hot dog place. Whatever. They have hamburgers too, but they're gross. Don't eat them. So anyway, we're in there. And he in Latin America, he's pretty popular. He's a musician, really good, but he's also an actor. And he used to host a bunch of shows like on Univision and stuff like that. And he was telling me about a party he went to, and he met like James Brolin and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, so we were talking, and he's like, yeah, but AI, is it really, can it be as creative? And I'm like, okay, well, how many times a day do you use GPT-4? He's like, all the time. I was like, okay. Like, isn't that becoming your default? He's like, yeah. I was like, and you're in the entertainment business. I said, all of us, we are all just parrots. We're all just copying little bits and pieces of all the things that we've seen and experienced throughout our lives and just regurgitating them in ways that make sense to us. Like that's our best truth. So that's the way we talk about it. We're all regurgitation machines. We're all hacks. Like we were talking about stories. It's like, yeah, but what about storytellers? I'm like, one, there's only like 7 different stories and they've been told for thousands of years and nothing is new. Nothing we do is new. Nothing we do is all that unique. In Hollywood, what separates it is the people that have money versus the people that don't. Bigger productions get more money. They can advertise them. They can push them. They can shove them down your throat and you go watch them sometimes. Only now, the barrier to entry with things like Sora and stuff like that is going to go way down where anybody here will be able to create a feature-length film by just putting a prompt in, like prompting. And then, doing some little nip and tuck work. Everybody here will be able to compete with all the giant studios, with the Netflixes, with the everybody else's. So what is the point of those companies then? Like, why do they exist? Oh, well, they could aggregate AI content and they could say, okay, cool. YouTube does that, but that's fine. We could do that. So you see all this is going to shift. And then it said, oh, well, what about actors? Oh, what about actors? They're gone. Like, what use would you have? Your AI system that you communicate with that knows you really well will know the kind of characters you like and the kind of stories that you enjoy. And so when you ask for a story to be told, it'll know exactly the length of time. It'll look at the attention span of your brain in real time, and it will put pauses and it will turn up the pace and down the pace as it's happening. Does that make sense? It will cater directly to you in real time with feedback from your brain to give you the best experience for you. Where the hell do actors fit in? How are they going to go read for that? This whole thing, this whole Hollywood thing, it is over. The asteroid is in the sky. It's exactly 10 kilometers. It's over with. They just don't see it yet. They're squabbling over, well, I don't know if AI could have, they're trying to define where is AI. They're fighting over a battle that's already lost. They're trying to defuse a bomb that already went off. That is over with. They either refuse to see it or they're just, ostrich. I'll put my head in the sand and we'll just go on strike and argue and stuff. By the time all these strikes and all this squabbling, by the time this is all over with, there is no Hollywood. It's all over with. It's done. They're going to look up after all their negotiations, and they're going to have all these new rules in place for nothing, because there will be nothing. So everybody here is going to get a lot more creative, and it will be a lot less interesting, because what's interesting to me might not be what's interesting to everybody else. So if your content is geared towards you, you just narrow the focus and you just start realizing it doesn't take a village to tell a story anymore. It just takes one person and a prompt. So things are just changing a lot. But in this weird near term, I think that in the obsolescence phase where people are going to be losing their jobs, and that's going to be messy. And that brings us to kind of the economy that we're at. Well, he wouldn't be homeless. He's already made his money. But I think the days of the Hollywood superstar and all that kind of stuff, I think those days are coming to an end. Your kids or your grandkids or your whatever's probably not going to see the world like that. It'll be mostly technical, mostly experiential. Jamie Dimon stepping down. Heads of HSBC. Yeah, even the villain asked to leave. Jamie Dimon's a creep, but Jamie Dimon's also old, and he's like been through, he may just want to go and like relax a little bit. Here's the deal. Jamie Dimon, he's a dick, but probably he's exactly the same kind of dick that every one of us would be, protecting the flank of the legacy banking system. Economists lie, they have to. Bankers lie, they have to. And most people don't care. This group in here, this 203 people, we are the minority by a huge factor. You guys know. When was the last time any of you, here, just put it in the chat. Have any of you talked to anybody about what's going on in the world and gotten any kind of answer that makes any damn sense? Do any of the people around you have any flipping clue about what's like how the world is like unfolding and like what's going on, or is this just ostrich, pure ostrich? I see it everywhere. It's mind numbing. You're like, how do you put your damn shoes on in the morning if you don't even know, like, and it's gotten to be where the very basics seem like conspiracy. It's just nuts. Cool. CEO of BTC Magazine, David Bailey, said Sunday that when he met Trump, he asked if Bitcoin could do anything about the $35 trillion debt. Game theory this out as a solution. No, I don't think Bitcoin can do anything about the debt. The debt is a function of government spending, right? Like that's where the debt comes from. And so, well, I guess my question would have been, do you think taxes can make Trump would definitely agree that taxes are pointless when you have a debt that I think our debt service per quarter now, I mean, it's something ridiculous. It's like 100-something billion in debt service per quarter. Debt service. That's not the new debt. That's the service on the old debt. That's your credit card debt. That's your credit card interest. The credit card interest on the national debt's like over 100 billion a quarter. It's unrepayable. No amount of taxes from 400 some odd million Americans, no amount of taxes are ever going to tackle any of this. It's asinine. It's beyond stupid. They print it faster. They create it. It's not even printing. They create it into existence faster than they could possibly expunge that debt. There's just no way. No way. So it just seems silly. So anyway, like, would Bitcoin, there's not anything Bitcoin can do. Bitcoin may protect people against some massive, if you believe in some massive inflationary, hyperinflationary unwind. I don't think it works that way. I think it's a slow boil. I think all of these things are a slow boil, but they end up being dramatic after many years. It's the other side of compound interest. The same thing that makes many of us wealthy makes the government poor. It's the problem with exorbitant privilege. It's like there's a lot kind of in there, but Kirill, I would just say I don't think Bitcoin is going to solve anything other than for many of us, it'd be a nice little savings account that seems to be on the other side of the money creation, stupid economist, stupid government management seesaw. Yes and no. Yes and no. Okay, you might have stumbled onto one smart. I don't even know what financially woke. I don't know what we call it. A term. Financially educated. That's not fair because sometimes people are educated in finance. They're kind of dumb. Very few people that really understand how the world is working right now. There's a lot of inputs, and people they tend to just kind of listen to the stuff that they like, and rather than the world that we live in. And yeah, people are so busy living. Well, yeah, in their active life. Isn't most people's active life like watching TV for 14 hours a day and doing old stupid stuff? I mean, I do stupid stuff. I squander at least 90 minutes a day playing Population 1 on the Oculus and trash talking and shooting people. It's squandered. It is squandered. I try to rationalize it by like, oh, no. I'm thinking about things when I'm playing, like in the back of my mind, man, I'm thinking about shooting people in the head. That's all. I'm thinking about getting a tight grouping and reloading my AK-47 faster than other people. That's it. So I squander. I don't squander by watching reality TV. I'm not going to squander my life to watch someone else's fake life. And which is crazy because now we live in a world where fake people are famous for being fake. And I even know people that I consider somewhat intelligent, less intelligent now, but that watch older. oh, the Real Housewives of this and that. I'm like, what are you talking about? What the hell's wrong with you people? They're like, oh no, well, I don't really watch it. My wife watches it. Okay. Are you sitting next to her? Yeah. Well, then you watch it, dummy. Do you know their names? Yeah. Like you wouldn't believe what they did. No, I wouldn't believe what they did because nothing's real, stupid. God. And then what happens is you just get to a point where you give up. You're like, I'm not telling anybody anything. Screw it. Yeah, exactly. Taxes won't keep up when you spend $1 trillion every 100 days. Hey, $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. Pretty soon, it's just what is it? Pretty soon it's real money. $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. Trillion. Think about that. We're actually talking in terms of quadrillions now. Man, in my school in Texas, where I grew up, if I said a quadrillion, I'd get my ass kicked at recess. They're like, get that nerd who said that funny thing. I would say there's 1 quadrillion in derivative exposure. What did you call me? Get him. How strongly do I believe in the wealth creation capability of hypercycle? A lot. I mean, the nodes split. They do that as a function of being on. They split. If they split, your money doubles. If your money doubles 10 times, you're fucking rich. Now, on the other side of that, I don't know what the amount of money is, whether it's $1, whether it's $10 a month, we don't know what that is. So we don't know to what degree. But I know that if you have a system that going into a world that is going 100 miles an hour, 200 to 700 miles an hour into AI, that it's a world ender, meaning that the old world that we knew is going away and AI will be underneath, on top of, around, enveloping everything. So if you know that, and you have a way that you can participate in that internet of AI, in that kind of expansion, that mass expansion, that big, fast, hard burn, and you can get at least a double 10 times. So basically for every 1 node, you end up with 1,024 nodes. That's pretty impressive. So even if you had 1 node and it made $1 a month, that's all you netted. You netted $1 a month. Now that 1 node, 5 years later, is netting you $1,024 a month. Well, okay, that's not bad because no one has 1. Minimum people have 2. So there's your $25,000 a year on 2 at $1 a month. $1. Like, just go to the stupid low. Okay, you have 100 licenses. You have 32 licenses. Okay. So $32 a month times 1,024. So 5 years in, you're making not 32, more than that, like $34,000 a month. Is there anybody here who can't make it on $34,000 a month? Is there anybody here whose bills are so ridiculous? Okay, Howard, you're not allowed to answer. Is there anybody besides Howard that can't exist on $34,000 a month? You can't make $34,000 a month work? You're like, well, inflation. So, okay, well then it probably won't be that. That'd probably be a tiny number. But you see what I'm saying? So it's the multiplier effect. So it's built into this ecosystem. So it will expand. And so the only question is, do you believe there will be a desire for AI compute 5 years from now? I think infinity from now. I think that's all there is. And so I think if you don't participate in AI infrastructure one way or another, then you just don't exist in the economy. You're a transfer payment recipient. I don't know. We'll see. Oh yeah, it's incredibly complicated. They're like, look how easy it is. You're like, there's 17 goddamn steps here. This is not easy, man. Oh, sheesh. So yeah, it's not easy. Trust me, what you'll be seeing at Node Market's a lot easier. But again, they have to put something out, right? Like they have to They have to have something, and we're just going to make that something easier. So there you go. That's the benefit of having a node market NFT. You get to get all the cool software stuffs. Some guys asked me like, hey, do you want to expand into Asia? I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like, hey, well, let's talk about it. I'm like, we are talking about it. What do you want to talk about? Why do everybody want to have a damn Zoom meeting all the time to talk about nothing? Do you want us to put an Asian language so that you can read, like, what language? Tell us. We'll put it on the list. We're going to do Spanish. That was another thing. Someone reached out to me and said, hey, what do you think about us getting together and exploring the opportunities of a Spanish language version of the website? Okay, well, then that's it. That's fine. Well, let's explore it. We just explored it in that sentence. What more? What are we exploring? Well, we want to change it from English to Spanish. Cool. Click, check, dot, explored. Thanks. It's on the list. So yeah, we're going to do those things. Those aren't discussions. You don't get on a Zoom. What do you talk about? Okay, listen, here's our idea. We're going to go from English to Spanish. Cool. Good meeting. Bye, everyone. Later. I'm out. I'm dipping. Come on, man. Quit wasting everybody's damn time. Come up with something cool. Getting me on a Zoom meeting, talk about a whole bunch of nothing. I think Google does it. Like, Google just does it. It's kind of sloppy. You can do, it's better to do like whatever, but like, you can take a picture of your page, upload it to GPT-4o on your computer, because you can run 4o on your computer, or at least I have it. It will do the translation for you. It'll probably code it. Probably do it in a damn afternoon. Let's have a Zoom meeting. We ain't having Zoom nothing. I'm going to draw pictures on Dolly 3. How about that? Anyway. Yeah. No reality TV ever, man. Don't let anybody, and if you find, well, that's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get on that soapbox. 1 trillion is just a rounding error. God, right? Hey, if you owe the bank $1 million, it's your problem. If you owe them $1 trillion, it's the bank's problem. Yep. Yeah, it is. It's like fusion. It's like mitosis. I think we figured out like mitosis is the best, makes the most sense of that example. Let's see. Hopefully they make T1000s. I know. I'm gonna want a T1000 so bad. You guys have all seen the new Boston Dynamics? No. Robotics. Anyway, their new robot, which is really good. It like makes the Optimus robot look like crap. Anyway, I'm not wishing against Tesla. I like the idea that consumer robots could be ushered in. I like that stuff. I'm not even a hater of Elon. I think Elon, there's many things that Elon's awesome. It's just not everything. I mean, he's bankrupted a lot of companies. He's not so good with finance. He is a visionary. Problem is, though, like someone's got to fund those visionaries. Sometimes a lot of times because they fail a lot. But when they hit a home run, it's a good one. Okay, so let me, we're going to talk about the economy. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other really great questions. Sometimes you guys ask good ones. Sometimes you guys ask a lot of good questions. Yeah, none of us here should want to be a UBI recipient. We should want to be a $34K a month recipient. I think, by the way, just so you know, I don't know if it's obvious. That's my kind of ideal node kind of bundle, whatever. The 32 to me feels like if you have 32, I don't see how you're not going to be doing okay. 5 years is the term of a lease, like on a car. So to me, it makes sense to have a 32 node. But again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm just saying it makes sense to me. 30K, 33K a month at a low. That could be a magnitude higher, right? That's at $1. That's at netting $1 a month. What if you're netting $10 a month, which they think is the low? Is anybody here not going to be able to make it off 320K a month? Just can't get by. Just got your bills. Just, I'm overextended, man. I'm just barely making it. Sheesh. Can you imagine $340K a month. I'll tell the whole world to go F themselves. I tell myself to go F myself. F myself. Okay. Let me see. If I give a few married HYPC notes to a friend, does that friend need to have an HYPC? Well, yeah, to use the software. I don't know. Just understand, 11. If you do that, you're going to be attached to helping them forever. If you want to do that, that's cool. But if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you just do it yourself and then pay them a little friendship UBI, an FBI, friend basic income? Anybody here paying? I have a buddy who he pays his sister's rent. So he's enlisting. He's the treasurer for SBI, sister basic income. Anybody else have like an FBI family or friend basic income that you guys are? I know some of you do that you guys are the treasurer for. That you're underwriting F basic income, FUBI. I know some of you are. Oh, it's funny. This morning I woke up and surrounded by, we're in a cloud. A cloud kind of rolled over the hill that we're on. So we're in a cloud right now. You can't see anything. It's badass. That's why the lighting doesn't suck today. Because the sun's not coming in here pulling a dick move. Okay. Yes, Cloud City. But also we want to live in a cloud, like a legit cloud. Boston Robotics. Oh, the dog with the fur. Yeah, that's so badass. Is it Boston? I don't think it's Boston Dynamics. Crap, I don't know. Whatever the name is of that, I know it's General. Maybe it is Boston Dynamics. Okay. Let's go. So future gains, BTC or HYPC? They're different. Your HYPC gains are going to come from utility. Your Bitcoin gains are going to come from the futility of governments and bad jurisprudence and bad governance, governments, flawed economics, bad policy, bad economists, all the typical crap, the Bernanke problem. Lie and lie and lie and then rewrite the past. Right? Tell everyone everything's fine, and then 3 years later be like, "Oh yeah, we were in a recession. We're getting our ass kicked. We got that wrong." But then they'll say, "Well, we did the best we could." Bullshit. Anyway, this will be our last one. Then we'll go into it. Okay. Some of the node licenses that are for sale right now have Tilling Compute, which have good reputation. Perhaps a good time to buy. Yeah, it is a good time to buy. If there's licenses that have Tilling and they have Tilling further back than a new license, then get the ones that have Tilling that go back further. That's kind of seems like common sense. So there. Okay. But yeah, David, I agree. Okay. The stock market is not the economy. You guys know this. It's basic. This is basic ass stuff. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, shall we?
Hello. You're late.
What? Get back on there.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
Okay. Oh, this is a cool picture too. Again, GPT 4.0, and I think my input was, I want to show. I always say a landscape-oriented picture that shows the economy versus the stock market split in half. And so I feel like we nailed it. Let me take this off the screen. What do you guys think? I'm going to make it big. So you got your people on the right. That's like the real economy. They don't look so good. People on the left, everything's great. Except this guy in the suit at the bottom. It looks like he's wearing a clown mask. That's creepy. Anyway, other than this creepy dude, everything looks like it's okay. And yeah, but I don't know. Anyway, that's its rendition of what we about to talk about. So, okay. Let's talk stock market versus the actual economy. It is worth it merits discussion. People get this crap confused all the time, especially Joe Sixpack out on the street. When you talk to people and they're so clueless, and you're like, you can't be this stupid, bro. And then you find yourself arguing. You're like, what am I arguing about? Dummy's gonna dummy. Like, what would dummies do? They're telling you. How about the gorilla? Yeah, I don't understand. I don't even know if it's a gorilla or if it's a bear. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, again, this isn't the, I used Dolly 3. I should have used the new version is like 4.0. Creepy guy has 2. Like, yeah, there's a lot going on in that picture that will scare you. I think it's a bear too. Anyway, let's talk about a pretty common misconception, and that is the idea that the stock market is a reflection of the actual economy. And what was it? Why are stocks up? Because the market is good, or because the economy is good. Why is the economy good? Because stocks are up. No, that's circular argument, and that's not how logic works. So the misconception is often perpetuated by economists who they were trained on textbook pages written in 1960, and they're mostly these kind of Keynesian and neo-Keynesian douchebags, and they are very prideful. Anyway, very, very prideful, kind of an academic cognitive bias. But anyway, also politicians, untrained actually in finance at all. And these people, economists who have never actually been in the economy because they've never had businesses and they've never actually worked at anything other than prognosticating economics, and politicians who are career politicians who don't actually, very few of them come from the actual job force, like actually worked, actually entrepreneured. They're mostly, they're career economists and career politicians, and they point to the stock market's performance as a gauge of economic health. And they say, well, look how good the market is. See what we're doing. And so when you look at it by the numbers, which we're going to, it's not quite so pretty. So the reality on the ground is starkly different. It's characterized by high unemployment, joblessness, job insecurity, food and housing insecurity. You like that? You like that kind of clever word? Oh, housing insecurity. Housing insecurity? Bitch, you don't have a house. That's not housing insecurity. You're homeless. I don't want to call it homelessness. No, it's not homelessness. It's housing insecurity. Oh, I'm not hungry and starving. I'm food insecure. Bitch, I'm hungry. My stomach hurts. I'm trying to eat rocks just so my stomach won't hurt. It's not food insecure. I'm not insecure about food. I have no food. But we word these things out of being a real problem so that we can all just pretend blissfully watch our stupid ass reality TV shows. But the stock market consists of shares of equity, which again are the lowest tier of the capital stack, of publicly traded companies. And its performance is often seen in indices like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So people just look at those averages, and that's what they think the economy is. It's important to understand that the stock market is forward-looking, meaning it reflects investors' expectations of future corporate profits, right? So what does a corporation do? They got to maximize shareholder value, or at least that's what they're supposed to do when it's not Red Lobster or GameStop or Bed Bath & Beyond or Ford or you can go down the list. Anyway, but this idea that the current stock prices reflect an expectation of future reward, future dividend from corporate profits, this creates a disconnect between the market performance and the current economic conditions experienced by everybody on the street. It's not like everybody's involved in the stock market in the first place. It's not a proxy for behavior. Every store you go into doesn't have stock that you own part of, right? Like the disconnect is there's limited participation. The problem of companies like public companies and employment, and then the market concentration. So the limited participation problem is that only 60, not even 60, about 58% in change, 58% of Americans own stocks, equities. The wealthiest 10%, so of that 58%, of the 6 people out of 10, okay, less than one of those people, so only 10% own 90% of all US stocks. So out of 100 people, 58 out of 100 own stock. 6 of those people own 90% of all of it. So think about that for a second. This means that stock market gains benefit 6 people out of 100, leaving everyone else at sea. They get nothing. They don't participate. They're not participating. Oh, stock market's up. No, it's up for 6 people. 6 out of 100. Public companies and employment. Public companies represent less than 1% of all US companies. Oh, stock market's good. How's it good? It represents 1 out of 100 companies. Less than 1. US companies and public companies employ 1/3 of the non-farm workforce, a third. Therefore, stock market performance does not even in any way directly translate to job creation or wage growth. Oh, the stock market's up. Oh, you mean in the 1 of 100 companies that are responsible for basically no hiring? How on earth would anything they do make any damn difference anyway? That's not what you get if you watch CNBC. Oh my God, NVIDIA doesn't employ 100 million people, bro. So stock market performance does not translate to job creation. It doesn't translate to wage growth, and it doesn't translate to hiring. All right. Then you can look at market concentration. The largest companies, again, of this 1% of companies that's really owned by 6 people out of 100. Okay. The largest of those companies in that 1%, that are like such as the S&P 500, the largest companies have a disproportionate impact on the stock market. These companies, there's like 7 of them, 7 of the 1% owned by the 6 people, right? These companies are unlikely to be the largest employers, meaning that their success doesn't even improve the overall employment rates, even in the 1%. The 1%. So let's look at economic indicators. Real economic indicators, and I say this with a little snicker because, again, GDP gets cooked all the time and they just start changing dials. But real economic indicators like GDP growth, employment rates, inflation, again, how you label inflation, are crucial for understanding the economy, but are often lagging and mostly fictitious. For instance, in 2023, the U.S. economy grew by 2.5%, making the third straight year of growth. Despite this, many Americans continue to face economic hardships. Unemployment rates slightly increased to 3.7% by the end of 2023. Labor force participation is super, super low. What does that mean? It means people quit looking for jobs, and so they just disappear. They just, they're not unemployed. What are they? They're not employed. Yeah, but Janet Yellen called that. She admitted one time, we are seeing some slack. Bitch, that's not slack. These are people that have been unemployed for so long that you'll no longer pay them unemployment, and they didn't get a job, so they count as nothing. They just disappear. They're not employed. They just don't count. So anyway, so what are the realities on the ground? Despite positive GDP growth, which again, a government employee is paid to dig a hole. They find someone else and pay them to fill the hole. That's GDP. So it shows a robust amount of growth. And so the stock market is up. Why? Stock market is up because the economy is bad. So people think that the Fed's going to cut. So they think the Fed's going to cut rates, which don't do anything, that's going to be somehow stimulus. And then there'd be more money created out of where? Thin air. So then the stock market would go up because things are bad. But stock market is companies that are selling stuff to the people that live in the world that's bad. Who's buying the stuff? Oh, they're going to cut rates. Right, but who buys the stuff? Well, they're going to cut interest rates and there's going to be free-flowing money. Yeah, I understand that. But who the fuck is buying stuff? If no one has money, if people aren't being hired, who's buying stuff? Oh, yeah, well, nobody's actually buying stuff. People are going bankrupt left and right. Right, but the stock market is incredible because rates. Whoa. So then you have, I guess we kind of talk about underemployment and unemployment. So while official unemployment rates seem low, underemployment and job insecurity remain at very high levels. You have really weak wage growth. Well, it's not wage growth, it's wage stagnation. So real wages, they have seen slight increases, but they're not keeping up with the cost of living increases, which again is at some point a function of money creation and cash and credit creation, lending and things like that, and the economy pulling back. So if companies keep raising prices and the cost of living marginally goes up, and this is the owner equivalence rent issue, right? If cost of living goes up, but people's income doesn't go up with it, you have a problem. It's wage stagnation, right? And so particularly like in housing and healthcare. And so that creates these food and housing insecurity issues. Again, food insecurity. I ain't got no food. Housing insecurity, no house. Like you can look at a person on the street that's like homeless, like, oh gosh, he looks food and housing insecure. He's ravenous, dude, because the motherfucker hasn't eaten in a week. You think you would be happy sleeping on a street, having not eaten? No, man, you would not be happy. So like, we got to be honest about what these things really are in our society. And when you see them, like, pay attention. This is coming soon to a street corner near you. None of this stuff is reflected in the stock market. You think that the homeless dude that's eating like leftover like beignets and picking stuff out of the Starbucks trash, you think he gives a shit that Nvidia turned in an amazing quarter? He ain't seeing it. 6 people are seeing it, but it's not that dude. Guess what? It's not the police officers that arrest that dude. It's not the people that work in Starbucks. None of them are participating. None. All right. Economic growth, job satisfaction, and housing. Let's talk about them real quick. The U.S. economy grew faster than expected the fourth quarter of 2023. Great. Problem was almost all of that was government spending. So then the number looks kind of cooked. And when you look at payrolls, it doesn't look good. And when you look at this, we have an annualized growth rate of 3.3. But if you look at the trend from before the great financial situation, the great monetary crisis, 2007, 2008, if you look at the trend line and then you look at where we are, this is where we are. It doesn't matter that, 3.3, this is amazing. Yeah, but we're not where we were. This is the trend. This is where we should have been, not here. All this bullshit here means nothing. This is where we were. This was the trajectory. The little V right here, all of that has been lost. Never to return. It's all gone. So we're here. Oh, yeah, man, things are looking great, the economists. Oh, yeah, everything's great. No, man, this is where we were supposed to be. This is what was stolen by the same jackwagons that are pumping their garbage ass stocks, by the way. So you can say there's an increase from the bottom. From the bottom of 2008, the bottom of COVID, there's an increase in jobs, incomes, and spending. Yeah. But the trend is gone. It has left us behind. That train's left the station. Job satisfaction. A survey by the Conference Board indicated that job satisfaction hit an all-time high in 2023. How? People don't even have jobs. Remember? Job insecurity. So this contrasts with, what people are actually saying. Like, hey, you love your job? No, I don't love my fucking job. I hate it. I don't have a choice. I can't quit. If I quit, then I'm going to be housing, and then I'm going to be job insecure, housing insecure, food insecure. I don't want those insecurities. I'll just stick with I'll just stick with my basic insecurities, of which there's probably a laundry list. Housing. Home ownership rates have rebounded from the bottom of the crisis and the bottom of COVID, especially among younger adults. Yet housing affordability remains a critical issue, and real estate trusts are going bankrupt. They can't all be true, can they? All these things can't be true. So I don't know, man. We get a lot of weird, and I'll leave you with this. There's a well-documented correlation between unemployment and suicide rates. There's been a lot of studies that have shown that increases in unemployment are associated with higher suicide rates, obviously. And there is some scholarship to suggest that it also has a direct correlation to the opioid epidemic. So, I mean, again, it makes sense, right? You're depressed, drugs. I know it sounds like an easy, by the transitive property, depressed, drugs. But during the Great Recession, suicide rates spiked alongside rising unemployment rates, and research indicates that for every 1% increase in unemployment, there was a 1.3% increase in the suicide rate. That's bad. So think about that for a second. So every time unemployment's at 5%, that means that means you've raised the suicide rate to 6.5%. You've raised it by 6.5%. That is thousands and thousands and thousands of people there that are job insecure, food insecure, housing insecure, and death secure. It's not good. So kind of to button all this up, you need to differentiate between, and this is the kind of thing that people should be discussing, right? Not like, oh, stock market, housewives. No. If you're discussing anything with people, it's not telling them what to invest in. That's none of our jobs. We're not going to ever change someone's life by telling them what to invest in. It might make sense to shake people to wake the fuck up and understand that there is a difference between the stock market and the actual economy. The stock market reflects expectations and activities of a small group of investors benefiting from a small, tiny wealthy segment of the population, dealing with 1% of the actual companies that exist in a very tiny manner, in a forward-looking way, right? In contrast, the broader economy encompasses the real-life experiences of everybody involved, every single participant, many of whom continue to face pretty significant economic challenges, despite the bullcrap news about a positive stock market indicators. So if you understand this disconnect, that's the discussion people need to be having, right? And I think it's pretty vital if you're going to create informed and effective economic policy. If you're going to be those douchebag politicians or 1960s textbook economists, and quit fucking lying. And how about you listen to people that are actually that live in the real world? Why don't you ask them how the real world is? And maybe that's what you should be protecting instead of the frail ass, fake ass stock market. Bam. Anyway, on this one, you can go, if you want to go look up statistics, a really cool place I found, factcheck.org. You can get statistics on any stuff. It's really cool. So factcheck.org is really good. PolitiFact, like politic fact. So PolitiFact or USA Facts. Facts, not facts, like fax machine. Anyway, but factcheck.org is really good. You can get all sorts of cool stuff. So anyway, yeah, I mean, man, this is the world that we live in. It ain't so pretty. It can be good for many of us, but also be quiet in your successes. Just be aware that the world's pretty nasty for a lot of people. It's pretty nasty. Okay. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor, insolvent, drunk, grifter ass, scammy grandmother wouldn't do, which is very little. Or Brandon, who is, he said it was really cold. So I'm guessing he's probably got long sleeves on and maybe some fur. I think people in those places have fur, have lots of fur. And on that note, I bid you a fine adieu. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're an accredited investor and you want in on angel, seed round or early round equity and token opportunities in the artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency space. Schedule an interview at nickblacknext.com. In life, you can either be really good, really lucky, or just be first. Being first is so much easier. Schedule a digital private client interview today at nickblacknext.com.